now, and the latest crazy development, in my opinion, especially in our business, is AI, Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I think you also, like, just as astonished as I am, like I've used it like in the last weeks and months for my own, let's say, as a copywriting assistant. What's your thoughts on it? Have you used it? How do you use it? How do you see the AI copywriting thing?
I think that where it is today is not clearly it's going to evolve to a very, very, very amazing level. It sounds like we're using it in the same way that you are using it there, Sven, which is very much as a copywriting assistant. We use it to create ideas for ads. We're not really in that place where we're able to replace anybody in our company with it. I know that's like a lot of people are talking about, it's the death of copywriters and this, that, and the other. I certainly don't think that we're anywhere near that level today, but at least in my business and from, my perspective, it's a fabulous way to create great first drafts of ads. A lot of what we do is strategic. It hasn't crossed over, that void yet of being able to strategically mastermind a killer advertising campaign. I think we're a long way off that. But certainly when it comes to creating really, really good first drafts of ads, I think that it's and that alone is quite profound. It's kind of an unlimited idea generator for great ads. So what it's allowing us to do on our end is create a lot more ads a lot faster, and it's helping us to dial in campaigns and scale them a lot quicker, and to greater kind of profit margins. I think that it is going to be everything that everybody thinks it's going to be. I think it's equal parts terrifying as equal and equally magnificent and astonishing. So yeah, I'm on board with it. I believe very powerfully in the benefit of using it, and I think it's just going to get better and better and better over time.
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with you as well about the brand. I think that more and more and more as the years roll by here, a brand is becoming more and more of an essential part of any marketing and any kind of business strategy on the internet. I have a buddy, his name is Bond Halbert, and Bond Halbert talks a lot about the Google Sniff test. And the Google Sniff test is, the idea of it is people are absolutely going to Google and searching for you. They're going to social media, they're going to Google, they're doing their own preliminary kind of background checks on you, your business. They're checking out reviews, they're checking out your name, the company name, the product name. And they are more and more and more looking into you. And if you are not focusing on growing your presence, if you're not focusing on establishing your credibility, if you're not focusing on passing what Bond Halbert calls the Google Sniff test, then, you absolutely are losing out on sales. You can go to any keyword search tool. If your business is doing any kind of reasonable volume, you can go use any sort of keyword search tool, type in your business, type in your name, type in your product or service name, and you will clearly see that if you are doing any reasonable volume whatsoever, there is a population of people that are going there looking for you. One of the things that we teach people to do in our funnels is put together what we call a brand awareness campaign. And a brand awareness campaign is essentially designed to capture those particular people. If you can, establish some form of credibility, if you can, get hosted on podcasts, if you can get an article published on a credible magazine or something like that, and then when someone goes and searches for your business, you can have ads show up that direct people, those searchers, to podcasts that you're on or to articles that you have written in, popular publications and things like that. And what we have found, we're able to track all of that back to sales. It's a really, really powerful way of selling people, because when someone is looking for you, they are a buyer. They're saying, hey, I'm so interested in you. I'm so interested in your business. I'm so interested in your solution. I want to buy, but I'm just skeptical. So I want to go and investigate you. And if you can point them then into places that overcome their skepticism, they're coming back around to buy. And that's a very, very underutilized strategy at large. But I thoroughly agree with you that a brand is not just a good idea. I think more and more it's becoming essential. And I think, it is already essential for you to have a credible presence on the internet. People are looking, and if they don't find you, and if they can't find you, or if they find something negative about you, that is absolutely hurting your sales, and you've got to fix that. It's not a luxury anymore.
Yeah, I think it's a necessity, and that's why I sell myself, doing things like that quite often, especially in the first months of doing a podcast. I was thinking, I should be managing this 200 people company. What am I doing here? Like, I'm now researching the hobbies of some podcast guests, and I should be running this big company. Like, well, what's going on? Yeah. But then at the same time, it accumulates. The first podcast episodes, they don't have a big effect, but over the course of years, it's a big asset that you have or you do not have. So I think it's very important, and and there's also this funny caveat in especially my business, Digistore24. There a lot of content that's being produced is done by affiliates who want to promote a certain product, and if affiliates want to promote certain products through videos, of course, which makes sense. I'm not blaming them. They're going to use phrases that create attention, and this attention kind of marketing, attention goes to especially negative phrases. So is Digistore24 a fraud, or is it a scam, or something like that? It's clickbait, basically. Even if they want to say something very positive about Digistore24, they're going to use, is it a fraud? Question mark. And you see all these crazy videos, and I'm like, okay, we need a ton of content done by ourselves so that people can do have the chance to get an impression, especially if you're in the B2B field like we both are. Both of us, we have to kind of defend our reputation, because our affiliates, they're going to throw out stuff like that, and that's quite hard actually. So I think it's very important. And also another thing, I almost never had a recruiting conversation where I tried to recruit someone who did not watch at least 10 episodes of the podcast. Like, hardly. They want to know everything about you, especially when they want to work with you, and they can make a decision. And so I think for CEOs, for entrepreneurs, it's very important to put content out there, whether you like it or not, whether you're busy or not. I think it's super important nowadays, because you're so transparent, you're so visible, and people want to get a feel, because other guys are doing it, your competitors are doing it. So I think you should do it too.
Well, there was a company, to just support your point there, there was a company offline that did both outbound and inbound telephone sales. And they had hundreds of clients in every imaginable profitable industry and market in the game. And they were serving these guys to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of sales a year for like 10 years. And what they decided to do is they decided to compile all of their data, and they wanted to know, like, why are some guys really crushing it and other guys not? What does the data show? Because they've got so much data. And the data showed several really interesting things. We won't get into all of it, but just to support your point, what they discovered was the companies that did the most volume, most consistently, and were like consistently and reliably at the top of their fields were the companies that had a content marketing strategy that, continued to educate the person, the prospect, on the problem, the solution, their company, their brand, why they were like, one of the best companies to do business with in the industry. Those companies just consistently ranked at the top of the food chain in comparison to businesses that did not. And one of many conclusions was that, these days, what people are looking for more so, in terms of making a buying decision is a relationship. They want to know who are they buying from. They want to know, like, what is the kind of the background of this company? What is unique about this solution? And if you are not putting that kind of content out there, then it's very hard to compete with companies that are putting that out there. And it's a real competitive advantage, and it's a snowballing. And like you mentioned, it's a kind of a compound interest type of activity. It's not about one video being out there or one podcast. It's the cumulative effect of having, done, several videos a week or several podcasts a week for several years. The businesses that take the time to make that kind of investment in themselves really are the businesses that survive and thrive in the long run. And I totally agree with you in that regard.
That's very cool. Thank you. Let's say you would start out like at zero. You would start a new business, ideally an online business. How would you start? What would be your steps regarding all your experience and what you know? What would you do?
It's a great question. I think I'll have a very unique answer to that. First of all, I have learned that starting with, this might be controversial for a lot of people, but the number one goal of a business is to succeed, So before you can serve people, you have to succeed, It's not that you need to succeed first and serve people later. The two happen at the same time. But you must understand that if you don't have a profitable business, you're not in position to serve anybody. Therefore, the number one thing to be figured out is how to actually generate clients or sales at a profit. So what I always recommend people do is don't focus on the product first. Focus on the sale. Start with the end in mind. When it comes to a sale, who is the person that's most likely to buy? So what I have discovered is the most motivated buyer in any industry, in any market, is the person that has the most urgent problem.
Yeah.
So if you have two problems, one is a leaking faucet in your kitchen, drip, 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 that's one problem. But if you have a burst water pipe in your basement that's flooding all of your valuable family heirlooms in the basement, that's a different problem. The burst water pipe is an urgent problem. You're not going to be shopping around. You're not going to be comparison shopping. You're not going to care so much about the cost to get it fixed. What you need is a solution immediately.
Yeah.
So that's an example of an urgent problem versus a regular problem. So what I always want to do is I always want to find out, number one, what's a really hot niche where there's a lot of money being made? Because I always want to go where the money is. Usually they're very competitive niches. So I always try and operate in very competitive niches because that's where the money is. If that's where all the competition is, that's because there's a ton of money there. So once I've identified a niche where there's a lot of money, I want to identify a prospect that has an urgent problem. Once I've identified the urgent problem, I then want to identify a really unique solution, something that is positioned against the competition as better, faster, easier, more exciting than the competition. Because if I have a solution that is better than than all other solutions on the market for solving an urgent problem, then it's like I'm designing the business. I'm designing a impulse buy. I'm designing a business here where people are going to immediately understand the logic in working with me. Once I have researched my competition and I know what they're doing good and what they're doing bad, I then start to think about a solution that is better, faster, easier, more exciting, less risk than everybody else's. And at that point in time, that's when I put the solution together. That's when I decide, when I start focusing on customizing a solution to an urgent problem and designing it to be better than the competition's. Because again, if I can do that, my likelihood of success is absolutely sky high. From that point forward, I want to identify where can I touch my prospect? Where can I touch this person who has an urgent problem? Where can I find them? You know, are they best reached on Facebook? Are they best reached on LinkedIn? Are they best reached on YouTube? Once I identify where they are best reached, I then want to go out and I want to, identify how my competitors are currently getting clients, customers from that specific channel. And the beautiful thing is that if you identify a top 5 competitor and you see what they're doing, you can reverse engineer their entire business. This is not about copying what they're doing, but it is about identifying what the roadmap is to success. If you have to make your way through a jungle, a very intelligent thing for you to do is to first find a really good map. It's not about just jumping in. So a top 5 competitor has a map. And what you want to do is you want to identify what that map is. So you can go and like start reverse engineering their funnel. See what it is that they're doing. See what it is that they're saying. See what they're offering, the price points, all of that kind of stuff. And you want to reverse engineer that. And then the secret is to, now you've got a hot niche. Now you've got an urgent problem. Now you've got a solution that's positioned as better than every other solution that's out there. You've identified where your prospect is, and now you've got a blueprint for creating a funnel that is going to attract and convert those people. And the secret from that point forward is you always want to do what the best are doing, but you want to do it better. Because if you can do what the best are doing, but you can do it better, then you're going to be better than the best, i.e. you're going to either, be in the top 5 or you're going to be number 1. And how you outperform a top competitor is with multi-channel marketing, because they're not doing that. So I go and create a multi-channel marketing funnel from that point forward. I switch it all on, dial it in, and the whole thing is designed from the get-go to outperform everybody else in the niche.
Awesome. Thank you very much. That's very counterintuitive because, you've heard of like the red ocean, blue ocean theory, and this is kind of like the opposite. But the problem with blue ocean is that maybe there's no market for your product, and you came up with this beautiful blue ocean, and it's way better, in my opinion. So I agree with you to go where already money is flowing and figure out how you can improve a certain service or product, and then compete with them just to be sure that there is actually a market. Because a lot of, I think, startup entrepreneurs, they work very long time on some ideas where there's not even a market. What do you like about Digistore24?
My answer would be would probably put down another platform, and I don't really want to do that. But let's just say that you guys have created a platform there that does not encourage refunds. You guys, I think, run a much tighter ship than another platform. I'm sure you're aware of who I might be talking about.
Sure.
I think that your order forms, I believe, convert better.
They do.
Yeah, your order forms convert better. Your refunds as a system at large are less. And I think just all around, you guys put on a smarter show than the competition. So I won't mention any names, but I'm sure you're well aware of who I'm referring to.
Absolutely. We're the younger company. We're not the first ones there. So we basically followed your advice. Take something that exists, make it better, and be competitive.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode of Svencast again.